Hello guys and welcome back. Today I will tell you about one of the most famous web novels out there, Shadow Slave. Shadow Slave is written by the author Guilty Free and has currently, as of writing this, 2,518 chapters. Shadow Slave is the second novel I have ever read and I think it's pretty good. It's an action fantasy romance novel and we follow the story of Sunless, also known as Sunny in Shadow Slave. I'll give you a small summary of the first few chapters, a little bit on the power system, then talk about the setting of Shadow Slave, and finally share my feedback again. So be ready as I kidnap you into the dream realm. Okay, now that we are in the dream realm, I want to give you a small summary of the first few chapters. We start off with our main character Sunless, or Sunny. Sunny was born and lives in the outskirts of the megacity NQSC. The outskirts of NQSC are a harsh environment where all the so-called scum lives. Sunny has been affected by the nightmare spell. I'll go into more detail on that later. As a carrier of the nightmare spell, Sunny goes to the local police to hand himself in because there's some risk involved. As Sunny is being prepared for his first nightmare trial, he slowly falls asleep.
Aspirant, welcome to the nightmare spell. Prepare for your first trial.
As those words are spoken by the nightmare spell, Sunny sees time flow backwards for many years. As time stops, Sunny sees a slave caravan in the distance. When time starts flowing again, Sunny finds himself in the body of one of the slaves and learns that his body was born in an abandoned temple of the shadow god. He is now a temple slave. The caravan halts after some walking to drink when suddenly ice and rocks start raining down on them. Many die, many are wounded. The creature that attacked them is a tyrant. It kills a human and turns its corpse into a larva. This larva is then killed by Sunny with his own shackles and the remaining larvae are killed by a young hero. The hero, Sunny, and two other slaves push the Mountain King over a cliff. Sunny later finds the almost dead veteran who had been mean to him during their rest. Sunny kills him and receives his first ever memory, the silver bell.
A small memento of a long-lost home, which once brought its owner comfort and joy. Its clear ringing can be heard from miles away.
While on watch, Sunny realizes the Mountain King is blind and wakes the others to tell them. As they continue, the first to go down is Shifty, one of the remaining slaves. The group concludes that the Mountain King is following their blood scent. Because of this, the young hero kills the other slave and plans to kill Sunny next. But before he can, he spits out blood. Sunny has poisoned his water beforehand, killing the young hero, whose name was Oro. Sunny continues until he finds the abandoned temple and enters. Half dying, he lies down on the altar, unknowingly sacrificing himself to the gods.
You have offered yourself as a sacrifice to the gods. The gods are dead and cannot hear you. Your soul bears the mark of divinity. You are a temple slave. Shadow God stirs in his eternal slumber. He sends a blessing from beyond the grave. Child of shadows, receive your blessing.
With this blessing, the Mountain King is slain and the nightmare is over.
You have slain an awakened tyrant, Mountain King. Wake up, Sunless. Your nightmare is over. Prepare for appraisal.
Sunny finds himself in a strange space between dream and reality, the inner workings of the nightmare spell. The spell continues his appraisal, which goes as following.
You have received a memory, Puppeteer's Shroud. Aspirant, your trial is over. A nameless slave ascended the Black Mountain. Both heroes and monsters fell by his hand. Unbroken, he entered the ruined temple of a long-forgotten god and spilled his blood on the sacred altar. The gods were dead, and yet they listened. You have defeated a dormant beast, Mountain King's larva. You have defeated 3 dormant humans, names unknown. You have defeated an awakened human, Oro of the Nine. You have defeated an awakened tyrant, Mountain King. You have received the Shadow God's blessing. You have achieved the impossible. Final appraisal, glorious. Your treachery truly knows no bounds. Dreamer sunless, receive your boon. You have been bestowed a true name, lost from light. Your aspect is ready to evolve. Evolve aspect, dormant aspect. Temple slave is evolving. New aspect acquired. Aspect rank, divine. Aspect name, shadow slave. The first seal is broken. Awakening dormant powers. Awakening aspect, ability. Aspect ability acquired. Aspect ability name. Shadow control. All power has a price. You have received a flaw. Your flaw is clear conscience. Flaw description. You cannot lie. Wake up, lost from light.
After his full appraisal, Sunny wakes up again in the police station. Now that we are done with the summary of the first chapters, I want to talk a bit about the world building. The two worlds in which Shadow Slave mainly takes place are our world, but in a post-apocalyptic setting. Most of Earth's population lives in the megacity NQSC, Northern Quadrant siege capital, which is located in Asia and holds around 1/10 of all humanity. When I read the novel, I always imagined this city as Night City from Cyberpunk. The second world Shadow Slave plays in is the Dream Realm, which is more or less a fantasy counterpart to the real world. It's filled with so-called nightmare creatures, and most of Shadow Slave takes place here. The Dream Realm is vast with different biomes and varying numbers of moons in different regions. There are two cities called citadels, and they can be claimed, but only after reaching a certain rank. The Dream Realm, especially the Forgotten Shore, feels like something straight out of a Dark Souls game. I once heard a rumor that the character Nephis' design was inspired by Guilty Free's Dark Souls character. Now, in my opinion, next to the story itself, the best thing about Shadow Slave is its power system. As mentioned earlier, there is the Nightmare spell. It infects people around the age of 16 to 18, making them very sleepy. They must overcome their first nightmare, during which they are given certain attributes and the dormant rank aspect. An aspect is basically the core description of a sleeper's power. After ending the nightmare, they are appraised by the spell. There's a chance of gaining a true name, Sunny got lost from light, and of having the aspect evolve into a higher rank. They also gain their first aspect ability. For Sunny, that's shadow control. Completing the first nightmare also awakens the soul, which then starts producing soul essence. This essence is used to power aspect abilities. It also forms a soul core and a soul sea, which is basically the sleeper's inventory. In the soul sea, memories are stored, items that can drop from enemies and can be weapons, armor, charms, utility items, and so on. There are also echoes, summons obtained from nightmare creatures, which can be used for combat travel and more. There are two main ways to gain strength. First are soul shards. Soul shards are dropped by killing creatures, used to saturate the soul core, increasing soul essence. The second way is the nightmare trials. Nightmare trials are accessed in the dream realm via nightmare seeds. Completing one upgrades your rank. The ranks are as following: dormant, awakened, ascended, transcended, supreme, sacred, and divine. Nightmare creatures have a similar ranking system but with different terms: dormant, awakened, fallen, corrupted, great, cursed, and unholy. Classes for both human and creatures are beast, monster, demon, devil, tyrant, terror, and titan. These affect the amount of soul essence, but only divine aspect holders can advance in classes because the human body can't handle more than one soul core. Lastly, there are flaws. Flaws are tied to a person's aspect. The stronger the aspect, the worse the flaw. Sunny's flaw is that he can't lie. If he tries to avoid answering truthfully for too long, it could kill him. Now that we are at the end, I'd like to give some feedback. I really love Shadow Slave. It's a great novel and a good read, especially the first few volumes, which were phenomenal. My favorite arc is probably the Dreamscape arc. Pure comedy and happening quite early on, before the second nightmare. I really like that even though Shadow Slave's power system is a system-like power system, it's very well integrated into the world. Sunny doesn't get overpowered instantly like Sun Jin Woo in Solo Leveling, who becomes the stronger within the first 50 chapters or so. The only time I had issues was after the third nightmare, because there were a lot of POV switches, many of which I didn't find interesting or were too long. But now, Volume 10 is great. Finally, I really want to thank G3 for writing this novel. It's a blast every day when new chapters release. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. See you next time. Goodbye.